Welcome to the JLee 17402 Halloween Special. Being that it's the month of spooks and scares and all, you may come to think about death. More specifically me, I've been thinking about death in video games. Now, as you may have seen from my recent channel history, I've been playing a lot of Nancy Drew lately. And so, one day I started thinking, gee, this game series has a lot of interesting deaths in it. And so, I came to think, maybe I should start doing a list on that. So here's my list for the top 10 Nancy Drew PC games deaths. Without further ado, here we go.
At the number 10 spot, the first death comes from the White Wolf of Icicle Creek. Have you ever wanted to do chores for other people? Well, you're in luck because you're playing as the maid and the cook in this game. But don't worry, there are plenty of ways to end your misery. Number 1, set the place on fire. Number 2, steam yourself to death. Or you could do the thing on this top 10 list. Let me explain. At one point in the game, you'll need to go ice fishing. As you can see, there's a lot of trash floating around in there. But there is one piece of trash that is extremely deadly. A mine. Like, seriously, who builds an ice fishing shack on top of a minefield? It seems that Chantal didn't exactly think about the guest's safety on this one. Forget the food poisoning that happened, this is a major one.
I probably shouldn't have done that.
Let us travel back to Paris, where we have the death that is ninth from the best. At one point in the game, you have to go scuba diving in the Catacombs for a bottle that some guy wants. When you find that bottle, there's a rotating fan in front of you. Well, obviously you don't want to go into it because, well, sharp rotating blades. But this is a top 10 deaths list, so let's go into them. You'd think that you would run out of air, but no, oh no. According to this newspaper article, Nancy was ejected, yes, ejected from a fountain. How does that even happen? Does Nancy get there through a tiny hole in the fountain unharmed? And if so, how did she even get through that hole? The world will never know. Danger on Deception Island, another game along with Danger by Design, on my top 10 Nancy Drew games list. I actually mentioned this death on the list as well. It's the food poisoning. Within Katie's kitchen there are a handful of ingredients to make sandwiches, along with some not-so-good ingredients, such as old mayo, jellyfish, and moldy cheese. This death can also be accomplished by making an unpleasant combination of food, like ice cream, tomatoes, and baking soda. Observe.
Oh, suddenly I don't feel so good.
Death number 7 comes from game number 7, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. In this game, Nancy is living in a house that's sort of, well, shitty. The well water is poisoned, the wallpaper is ugly and peeling off, and there's mice in the basement. Oh, and there's ghost dogs attacking the house, but that's not a big deal. But there is one crappy detail that takes the cake. At the beginning of the game, Sally warns you of rotting floorboards in the house. And there's a note conveniently placed where else, but right over the rotten floorboards that you're supposed to avoid. Not really well thought out there, was it, Sally? Why put a note somewhere where it sort of defeats the purpose of itself? Seriously, what the fuck?
Rotten floorboards, watch your...
Next we have the end of The Secret of the Scarlet Hand. Nancy is locked inside the tomb of Bacall's scribe and is quickly running out of air. As if being locked in with a several hundred-year-old mummy wasn't enough. Not to mention you have to... touch it. As expected, as Nancy runs out of air, she dies. But what makes it good is the news article that comes later. 700 years in the future, the tomb is reopened and the mummy is found, but there is another mummy as well. That mummy is Nancy. And look, she still has her magnifying glass. Even after all these years, she's still staying sleepy. Moving on, I found one death in particular quite interesting in Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. Towards the end of the game, you have to ride in a minecart to escape the tunnels, through which Nancy can die in a variety of ways, including just going to a dead end in the tunnel and just stopping there. Makes sense. I mean, it's not like you have legs to walk along the tracks, Nancy! But aside from Nancy's stupidity, there's an even better, or rather worse way to die. Let me show you. Whee! Oh, no. No. Oh, thank God. Oh, Curse of Blackmoor Manor, one of the hardest, if not one of the most irritating Nancy Drew games in the entire planet. Although this game isn't the best, it still has some pretty cool places to explore, like Mrs. Drake's garden. If you look around, you can find a few carnivorous plants in the conservatory. Some of them are pretty large, in fact so large if you try to poke one of them, it will in fact eat you. And all the while Mrs. Drake just stands there, potting her plants, not giving a single f***. Well, then again, I did pretty much just give her a heart attack, so I can't really blame her.
Hello? Mrs. Drake? Are you in there? Mrs. Drake?
Sliding into our top 3, next we have a death from Labyrinth of Lies. Putting on a play is hard work. You need to make sure everyone knows their lines, make sure everything runs smoothly, the costumes look nice, the set is realistic. But what if you make the set look too realistic? If you take a look at the computer in Melina's office, she warns you that the set does in fact have several dangerous elements in it. But warnings are just suggestions, so I didn't listen to her. Ooh, look at the pretty crystals. I want to touch. I can't just cross over. What's this lava going to do? Burn me to death? Ah! Okay, really, I have to ask this. If the set is made of actual lava, then shouldn't the entire stage be burning down at this point? Oh, never mind. Yet another death in Labyrinth of Lies. This game is full of cool deaths today. As you begin to know your way around the place, you'll eventually run into Thanos, who you learn later has a violent past. As the mystery begins to unravel, Thanos will come in and try to kill Nancy. What you're supposed to do is try to capture him in the set's prison. After you do this, you have the option to turn back to the control panel. If Nancy is incredibly stupid, and by Nancy, I mean you, she can release Thanos from the cell, which afterwards she smartly remarks,
Why did I do that?
I don't know, Nancy. I really don't know. And the number 1 death in Nancy Drew history is in, drumroll please, The Haunting of Castle Malloy. This death involves another endgame puzzle. See, you have to sort these various containers of chemicals into their proper categories, and you have to get that key way in the back there. And then, finally, after about 20 minutes, you at long last reach it. But be sure not to nudge it or squeeze it with a grabber too hard. Seriously, if you just brush up against the key, the game will be like, haha, nope, f*** you, kaboom! Dead. Seriously, I can't understand why this key kills you when you touch it, but I have to admit, it's pretty funny. And now I shall end this video with a bang. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my Halloween special video. If you want, you can go ahead and click one of the boxes up there in the video to see another one of the videos I made. Top left is the Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake walkthrough that I am currently working on. The top right is the Hyrule Warriors Weapons Top 10. Bottom left is the Top 10 Nancy Drew games, and bottom right is my Captain Toad Treasure Tracker review. I have to warn you though, they're all horrifyingly terrible. Click that subscribe button if you want to stay updated on future videos. See you guys next time.
Oh ho ho!